Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Saga Book Club. Uh, we're going to talk about Volume 9. We knew we had to do it sometime, and this is the month. I may have sent out an email to everyone earlier today that essentially just said, every time, this fucking hurts. Every fucking time. And it's so goddamn beautiful. Because you got to give Fiona a lot of credit. Hell, you got to give Brian credit, even though I don't want to, for how beautiful they made the most gut wrenching, horrifying. Was it really necessary? Can I come over to your house and beat you over the head with a baseball bat? Because that's what I feel like. What, 10 pages of comics ever?
Raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Brian Vaughan and Fiona Staples.
Let's get the
There
class
we go.
action suit going.
That's the whole group.
I remember I was actually in South Dakota with my wife visiting her family, my in-laws, um, when this issue came out. And even though I had a copy waiting at home, we picked up a copy at the comic shop there because there was no way I was waiting to read the new Saga. And I was on a rocking chair that was looking out at the cats. So my wife was on a couch but couldn't see my face. She could just see the back of the chair. Um, my in-laws or my mother-in-law feeds all they live on an acreage and she feeds all the cats. So, they often have as many as 10 or 20 cats that call their property home. And I like watching them. But so I read this issue and then I was just really, 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 really silent for I don't know how long, but I remember my wife saying, "Honey, are you okay?" And I just held up the last page over my head and she went, "Oh dear." And stood up and walked over and gave me a hug and said, "Are you gonna be able to read any more Saga or are you quitting now?" And I'm like, "No, I think I have to keep going, but mother."
Yeah. And what made that last page worse was the how many year hiatus? Three?
Yeah, and I mean, he apologized. Like the very next page in
Yeah.
lieu of letters, was a letter from Brian saying, "I can't believe I'm doing this to you, but we're about to take at least a year off."
Yeah.
And
That
it's
was
like, no, 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 no.
sorry, you weren't allowed to take off and leave us on an ending like
the,
that.
the, the idea that we were going into a three month vacation palooza was bad enough, right? But to find out that it was going to be a year, and then a year became a year and a half, became 3.5. Oh my God, that was. And yet, I
It
was
was
at
brutal.
Challengers Comics and Conversation on midnight on sale day to pick up my copy, and I read it in the car before I drove home.
To be honest, for someone who read it, like while the hiatus was mostly over, like when I got to that part, I think it was like February, the year they were gonna re-release. And I remember going to the top of the stairs and being like, "You're telling me you've been waiting 3 years for this? For the for more?" And we don't even and Dad's like, "Yep. Yep."
And do you notice that none of us have even managed to say what happened yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Avoidance,
Saying it out loud
denial.
is
I'll
very,
say it.
very
Can I
hard.
say it? I'll say it.
Sure.
I'll say it. So my favorite character, the Will, of course. And for those who've been listening, know that I'm very much Team Will. Finally, got some he got some, as they say, some as some people say, and he murdered Marco after Marco made the very heroic choice not to kill him. And I knew it was coming.
Well, and
I
like they also fought after he
Yes,
ripped off Prince Robot's head
yes,
after
yeah,
Marco made the very heroic choice of let him go, take me in his place.
yes, yes. And I knew what was coming. I hadn't read it since this came out, which I had to Google, was 2018. And
Yes.
I know all of y'all are talking about like the 3 year break. My
With the
first daughter was,
pandemic.
yeah, well, my first daughter was born in 2016. My second daughter was born in 2019. So those 3 years, like that, like I just like, oh, Saga's back. Great, cool. I don't know.
I think actually Fiona had both of her kids during that time, so
Yeah.
it probably didn't feel that long to her either.
Yeah, no, it was like if you had told me it was 3 months, I'd be like, oh, cool. If you had told me it was 5 years, I'd be like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Um, but no, it's it's absolutely, again, knowing it was coming. It's so well done. It's so shocking that that fight is so well choreographed, like almost better than anything I've ever seen in a movie. Um, and it's like I knew it was coming, and it still ripped my heart out.
It was it was yeah. Yeah. That's all I can say. It was well, and remember it was like two issues Doff dies. And then they're looking for Squire who ran away. And then yeah. Why?
And Alana loses
Why?
the weight.
There's just a lot of sadness in this
And
issue.
and why did it have to be so beautifully done that I can't even really be pissed off? I'm sad as fuck, but I'm not as angry as I want to be.
No. Josh, what did
That's how
you
they get
say?
you.
You said you saw it coming?
I'm sorry?
You said you saw it coming?
No, no, no,
Like,
no, 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 no. I knew it was coming because I was rereading it. The first time
oh,
I had no idea what was happening.
okay.
And to Ted's point, it was like Doth dies, Prince Robot dies. So, this will they'll beat, they'll beat the will and then they'll be on to the next adventure. No. Didn't see it coming at all. Like it was shocking, and to your point, Ted, so beautifully executed that I can't be mad because it's just really, really solid storytelling.
And again, I really want to be mad. I cannot tell you how much I want to be mad. But and this is how even Brian gets away with it. Like it's easy not to be mad at Fiona. She drew it so fucking beautifully and she doesn't know ahead of time, right? Brian's the one that's had this all planned out forever, right? But like taking the literal words from the first issue and using them for those flashbacks between the hand going through and just the hole.
And that's what made it hurt a lot worse.
It made it hurt more, but it was also so fucking beautiful.
And not just the deaths. I also found the finagling that Prince Robot was doing through this whole issue. And what had struck me the most, besides everyone dying, when I had first read through, is I forget what page it is, but it's the one panel where Prince Robot's talking to Doff and Upshur about spilling the beans, telling their story, giving them everything, and
Right.
it just cuts to his face with the oh my god, what does the text say? Uh, He's like, please say no, this story will be the end of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Please say no. This story will be the end of us. Please say no. This story will be the end of us. Yeah. No.
That
And
I
like
thought
for
was
that
just
matter, the little
beautifully drawn.
aside where you see that Landfall Secret Service has already completely fucked the story before it's even been published.
Yeah.
So you know that all of this is meaningless.
I want to mention that please say no, this story will be the death of us. Belle Saga iOS background panel. It's actually one of the ones that I've been looking at for the last 4 years. It's on my Prince robot
It
screen. It's an
it's
iconic one. It really
it
is.
is.
It's a great
I,
panel.
I will say for me, having not read this in since 2018, 8 years or whatever that's been, knowing what was coming, still shocking, still very emotional. The thing that actually shocked me the most, because I didn't remember it, was the story getting spiked and why Dolphin Upshur story
Mhm.
got spiked. I didn't remember that. And
I'd
maybe
forgotten that entirely.
yeah. And like maybe I, just a product of like living in LA and just like life being life. I was like, wait, it's a problem. These guys are in love. Like, who gives a shit? But
Only
it's
on
like
their planet.
correct. And that's, that's also the world we live in. Like I live in LA, so it's like, who gives a shit, right?
Right.
Um, so that was shocking to me to, sort of burst me out of my little LA bubble for a moment.
But yeah. And like I want to talk about the covers and first pages too, because really, chapter 49, like we should have paid way more attention to chapter 49's cover. We're all completely fucked. Breaking news, we're all completely fucked. But then
Maybe.
every like this is where they start a serious run of totally not safe for work first pages. Let's look at the Will's penis. And then episode or chapter 50 is the wonderful family photograph. So that's how you forget the we're all completely fucked. It's oh, the family's back together. We got the Christmas portrait. Beautiful. I literally have the non-trade dress version of this framed, right? I have my family portrait of and Alana and Hazel on the wall. And then you open it and uh, Marcos, these are ones that you have to be careful who you open them in front of. Marco is giving Alana serious pleasure. I had to read this very carefully at school. And then I remember with issue 51, first of all, that's one of my favorite covers. I love that Upshur and Doff cover. But like I opened it timidly, expecting another one, and instead get the your daddy is a bad man trying for Maisel. And then again, 52 starts with, oh, we're out in the pool having fun in the sun and they're playing their game of chicken or whatever they call it in the ocean. Like all is good except that the the will got away when she killed Doff and big Squire ran away. And then we meet crazy snakes and vagina mouth. Um, and then 53, like that cover, just Will's hand, oh, we're fucked. And then the what, Agent Gale in the it's like, oh God. Like that is like the most ominous opening splash page of the entire series. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Doff is dead. The will is on the loose, and we're starting the issue with Agent Gale in a parking lot.
Very All the President's Men,
Right.
Deep Throat.
Ugh, you know. And then just the end splash page there. Ugh, like I think we talked about this early on with Prince Robot. There's so many times in this series where like you could have killed his ass and I would have been cheering. And somehow we managed to get to the point where I really, really, really don't want him to die, and we rip his head off. And then we foreshadow because while that's Marco looking at what just happened and it's the robot blood on him, that sort of thing. Essentially, that image is used three times. In fact, anybody who read it in the uh, collected edition, Fiona's thumbnails are there for the last issue
Hmm.
at the back, and seeing essentially that image mildly altered three times is just like, ah, ah, you just keep taking us back. Only it's worse every time. Worse every time. And how dare you take that original opening narration, the 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 um my name is Hazel. I started out as an idea, but I ended up something more. Not much more, to be honest. It's not like I grew up to be some great war hero or any sort of all important savior. But thanks to my parents, at least I get to grow old. Not everybody does. And now somebody else has to talk because I need to like just cry for a minute. Yeah, yeah,
I, as I sit here and process, and sometimes in group therapy, you think of other people sharing their story and their examples and going through their work. And sometimes when other people do their work, you yourself are doing your own work. Uh, and I was doing my own work there, listening to y'all talk, and I can definitely say with 100% certainty, the first time I read it, and this time around, I was upset, like with Marco's death. Um, yeah, I know. For me, is like looking back at it, definitely sad, definitely hurt, but hell yeah, I was angry because it was one of the few times that, at least for me, in all the stories, right? And credit uh, to Brian K. Vaughan here, is that at least to my understanding, we're conditioned to like think that the good guy wins all the time. And this is a situation where no, you didn't. I'm pulling for this. I'm pulling for this family. I'm pulling for these characters. How many issues now? 50, 53, 54 issues. And now I see them not just lose, but die. Uh,
right.
yeah, I was angry. Still am angry. Um, I think I'm more upset by the fact that I had to wait 3 years because I definitely was coming in like
Oh,
every
that
other,
was so
like
hard.
every month. Like, hey, Saga out yet? Still on hiatus. So that sucked. But yeah, no, for me it was yeah. But I think that was also for me that sort of connection I had with the characters up until that point. uh, because I think I caught up like with the trades by I think volume 5 or 6, and then from here I was doing single issues, so I was definitely going week by week there. Um, so for me, when I read it, it was very much a kick in the stomach, like a quite literal, like it took it from me. So I can't remember where I was, Tad, but I remember that feeling of like just a deep sunken feeling. It's just like, what did I just read? Did
Yeah.
this has got to be a dream. This has to be some sort of alternate reality. Again, denial is all about grief, right? But yeah, for me, I was definitely angry. Uh,
Marisol, didn't I make you read it in the store because I needed somebody to talk to?
You did. I remember that. I absolutely did read it in the store, and I was angry with you about it. Yeah.
Taz, some people pressure, like peer pressure for like alcohol or drugs. You did this for
¿Dónde
Saga.
estoy pegando? Yeah, that was a day.
I needed to talk to somebody. It
And then
was
what? I was there for three
hard.
hours and we talked about Saga. Look, I usually would be.
It sucked ass.
It hurt. And then you told me about the hiatus. And then I
Yeah.
just got angrier.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
have
and
to
it
wait
totally changed the
to
way I
find out what
sold
happens.
Saga afterwards too. Because I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, here's the deal. I gotta recommend this to you, but you should read only the first 8 volumes and then leave 9 alone until it comes back.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
because
Until you can read issue 55, you shouldn't read volume
no, that
9.
wait was brutal.
It was so hard. So redonkulously hard. Um, I mean, thankfully, as we'll find out when we talk again, because I know some of you haven't read it yet. Um, think they came back. I think like literally one issue back. I'm like, okay. Though there were some pages in that issue, like let's just say I'm nowhere near done being mad at the will.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
If there was any sort of affection I
It
have for
it
Will, go on.
it gets worse.
well, remember, we can have this out in the next episode. Remember, to your point, Ted, that the good guys. Maybe it was your point, Lee. Forgive me, I don't remember who said it. The good guys don't win in this one.
Hmm.
But the mark of a great writer, in my view, is when you can see the villain's perspective.
Right.
And the Will absolutely thinks he's doing the right thing. Yes, he's angry. He's out for revenge. He is
Okay,
he's
right
humiliated.
now, the scene in the next one is unforgivable.
Okay, we'll get there. So far, I'm still great character, great
Did you
villain.
start reading forwardly? You're going nuts. No?
I
Don't
have
ever
not done
say
it yet. I love the back and forth. I love controversy.
Yeah.
So,
No. There is here. I won't show it, but I'll tell you how many pages before I wanted to strangle the will with my bare hands, and frankly, in some ways, wanted to find Brian and hurt him more than I'd wanted to hurt him 4 years earlier.
While you're looking, Ted, may I say one other thing?
Sure.
So I do want to. What really struck me in the reread, again, knowing what was coming, was I didn't remember that right before he's killed, and he makes the choice not to kill the Will, which he could have. Like that was his struggle the entire series
yeah.
between peace and violence, and he chooses peace, and he has this beautiful moment of serenity where he's looking out the ship at the planet below him, and he's kind of at peace.
Hmm.
And then we realized he made the absolute wrong choice in this moment.
Hmm.
And it works. Oh, it works so well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking in the trade paperback and I'm doing the digital version. So obviously some things are off, but digitally, and this is including cover, it's page 33 that I'm starting to, but page 39 where it's like actually in some ways page 39 might be the first time that I'm ever pissed off at Fiona because it's like, okay, that's goddamn beautiful, but completely unnecessary.
Talk about it next time.
Yeah.
Um, my tray doesn't have page numbers. Which image is that?
Are you in volume 10?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm in nine.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
reading
yeah. No,
as we're going. All right,
this is
all
me
right.
saying that
Okay.
like
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
So yeah, I
like
think
any ability that I had to sit there and go, okay, the will was just getting revenge and blah blah blah.
yeah.
I
That,
lose all of that for him in the next volume.
but
Hard.
I think that goes back to your point too, Josh, right? Is that sort of mark of a great writer, great writing, one and the same there, I guess.
Great art.
A great art for sure. Is I'm gaining affection for that character, right? And I've made it very well known that I did not like the will, but he sort of grew on me to some degree. Like I can understand him, right? Especially for the sort of abusive sort of childhood, especially that volume. But
On Earth,
then
I believe.
on a presumed
I think
Ohio
there's a good argument for
backstory,
it.
I don't know. And that like he comes in like it's like okay, I can understand this guy, but then he does the thing with Marco where again, the character that we know and love all these different chapters later, right? It's like, yeah, he 100% felt he was doing the right thing. I 100% agree with that. And I think that's just sort of his own sort of like we are all on our hero's journey to some degree, and he's on his in that way. So I don't disagree with you that yeah, I think he was right. And yeah, obviously for me, I definitely did not like him, and I think that really it's like I see the bright side, and then you brought me back down, right? So that was definitely on what a ride for me, and especially just that going back through it.
What's interesting is exactly what you just said is how I felt about Prince Robot. I did not like him when I first read it, and when he died, I was like, okay, that was cool. That was a cool death. This time, I was like, oh, I'm starting to really like this guy. And then he's just a weasel, and he's about to betray everybody. And yeah, exactly the same thing. It's like, nope, nope. You almost made the right choice. You almost were heroic, and then no, no.
Well, that's kind of Prince Robot's thing, isn't it? Hasn't he always kind of been a weasel to some extent?
100%.
Yeah, yeah,
But he was a
Like,
weasel on the side of the Angels. He had that great relationship. It was like, oh, he's got
that's
his
true.
family now. Like,
I do enjoy that they gave him that, I guess, mini
Well,
redemption arc.
and like his weaseliness this time feels less weaselly. He's resisting, but he's also trying to balance his own family, and his own family isn't even just Squire, it's Squire and Petrichor, and he's already lost his wife.
Hmm.
And like we don't know how much he was really going to sell them out because we don't get far enough, you know. I mean, initially when he went to sell his story to the reporters, I thought he was I mean, I remember back to when I was reading initially, I thought he was going to pull one of those, oh, well, they won't say it, but I'll give it to you.
Hmm.
But no, he offered them a different story. He's like, I have a story that's almost as good. You know, is that worth it? So like I'm not at all certain that he was actually about to give everything up.
interesting.
Um, but he was also clearly trying to weigh this life that he could taste life that he could taste, where he was with the woman that he loved and had his son, and they had new identities, and they didn't have to be on the run, and everything else was behind them. And suddenly this fucking freelancer was back.
This fucking guy just comes to rip it all away.
So I felt for him.
And I feel like the previous volume does a lot for his character in that regard, because you see that
Right.
he's trying. The man has something akin to a traumatic brain injury and is full of trauma and anger, yes, but he is also doing the best that he knows how
And he
to
clearly
make things
cares for
better.
his son.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Sorry, I think that's one of the things that on the read through again, it was his willingness to try to be a better parent, be that sort of better, to me, a person, to some degree. Um, Take that what it is as a robot person, I guess. Um, but yeah, it was very interesting to kind of see that again, that sort of affection. It's like, yeah, he's trying to do better. Like I can understand that, and then boop, he denied.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Fiona.
God damn it, Brian. We love you though. Your stories are great.
Matt and Belle, you're awfully quiet. Belle's giving us some. Matt, I've barely heard you at all.
Oh, I'm
Are
here.
you
I'm
crying
listening.
that
It's all
hard?
good.
Don't you say it's all good. No, it's not.
All right, it's not all good.
It is not at all good, Matt.
You can lie to yourself, but don't lie to book club.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Put that on the
I-
rule board.
You and I
There you
have
go.
very different definitions of good. If you think it's good right now, I mean, again, like reading this, I mean, there was the trauma of just like how fucking beautiful and painful it was,
Yes.
but also it's so impossible to read yet without also thinking of all of the time in between.
Yep. Agreed.
How long we sat on. Because here's the other thing, like since I started reading Saga and I got in right before the fourth trade came out. So the first 24 issues I did in trade, right? But since then, I have always reread the whole thing. Like before, in the 3 months between the end of volume 8 and the beginning of volume 9, I read all 8 volumes again. And like as soon as I finished reading issue 54, it's like I cannot touch this until 1 week before issue 55 is slated to come out. And as it turned out, I think I read it all on Monday and Tuesday before 55 came out because like I wasn't willing to sit with that. It was a midnight open to get issue 55. I think I got out there early enough that I read volume 9 in the car waiting for Challengers to reopen. Went in, bought 55, read it in the car, drove home because I had to work in the morning. And yes, I drove
Now
an
that's
hour
dedication.
to and from a comic shop to not have to wait till first thing the next morning.
That's dedication.
Oh, wait, though. Oh, no, I just remembered something because I have Challenger's Wi-Fi. I actually had read it before I walked in because it turns out that Comixology works on East Coast time.
Oh.
So as I was in the
Oh,
car
wow.
at like 11 o'clock, it popped up on my Comixology.
That's
But I still stuck
hilarious.
around to buy the issue and then turn around and go home. But then it became like, I mean, it was how I discovered that Comixology released at 11, and it became the first book that I would regularly stay up until 11 on Tuesday night and buy a digital copy, even though I had a physical coming,
Mhm.
just to be able to read it ahead of time, just to be able to know everything before I woke up the next morning.
So I need to ask this because Matt, as an experienced sort of saga reader up until this point, right, and bringing Belle to the comic book shop to watch you, I'd love to know sort of your reaction too, especially uh, you're reading it, but also Belle, for you, your first time reading it. Uh, Again, I like to love to know kind of your experiences, especially it's weird because now I kind of noticed a trend between, with the exception of Marisol, Ted, myself, and Josh have our cameras on, so we see each other. But Matt and Belle don't have their cameras on, so it's like kind of hard to get a read on y'all.
And they're like, that's right. And they're staying off because we're crying.
Yes.
Because that's
No,
what we do when
I'll tell
shit
you
is
why I've had my camera off. Let me flip you. I made soup.
Oh, very nice.
Oh,
It's a lovely
Been
addition
cooking
to
this
book
whole
club.
time.
But yeah, what was y'all's experience reading that? I'm curious.
I know at least for me the first time reading through it, as Tad said, he made me read it in the shop. It
sorry.
was
That's right. Yep.
such a gut punch.
I know
And
it
then
was
to be told,
selfish, but
no,
I needed it.
you gotta wait. You gotta wait. Because the thing that got me was how Marco died more than anything, but than the fact that it was the will who killed him.
Mm.
It was the fact that Marco had spared this man, and he is now rocketing through space in what is essentially a big old jellyfish
With
and
a pyramid
away,
on top.
yes, and away from his family. And that is the last thing he ever sees.
Mhm.
Like Alana and Hazel and all of them have nothing of Marco to, I guess, to grieve and to bury. Because he had taken his shield and all that with him,
Right.
and he went up to confront the will. So that I know was the thing that hurt a lot from this issue, at least for me, my first time reading it. But now reading it again, what grabs my attention is just the brutality of the fight scenes that we see with this issue. First, with like the little scrap we have of Upshur and Ianthe, is that how you say her name?
Yeah, I think so. Yanth.
Ianthe, when they're
Yanth.
um
Right.
when she's threatening like Squire and all them, and they're wrestling with the little gun, and she's got half her face charred off from a very well placed flare um on Upshur's part. And it's just all of them at that end just looking up at the rocketing jellyfish. And then the brutality and I imagine anger that the will had to have to literally tear off Prince Robot's head from his shoulders. I guess even in a fantasy world, that does not seem like a very easy thing for one to do at
Right.
all. Like there's a lot holding a head to a body via the neck. You got to be either incredibly powerful or incredibly pissed to just viciously tear someone's head off like that. And it did
Sorry.
by the final image on Prince Robot's face, that like flower with the one petal that was kind of like floating off away a little bit. I felt that that was kind of. Oh, I'm unsure if that was just Robot in a way showing some gratitude for Marco wanting to save his life, or if a part of him knew that regardless of what Marco said or offered, he was going to die.
Prince
And
Robot killed
then,
the stalk, right?
yes, he killed the
Yeah.
stalk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So totally justified. Sorry, Marisol. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just thinking about the anatomy of a robot person. Is like, I
Blue
wonder if
blood.
their heads are a little bit more delicate than ours, but I don't know.
Maybe they got them big old TV heads and blue blood, apparently,
Blue bloods.
literally.
Can I ask everybody a question?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about this, and in my mind, like the hiatus was just kind of a blur of like living with like very young human beings. Um, but this does, it does really, in my view, hearing this conversation, feel like it adds to like not only the trauma, but just like the anticipation, right? Like more is eventually coming. You don't know when it's coming. Do you all think that this Saga 54 stands up there with like kind of the great pop culture cliffhangers? Not in like monthly comics because you'll come back the next month. I'm talking like Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
Infinity War, like up there. Tad
Yeah.
says yes without even hesitation.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly can't think of a pop culture cliffhanger in my lifetime that I was because Empire, I saw it in the theaters, but I had to be taken out in the middle to be changed and fed. Um, like I mean, I think Infinity War is nothing compared to this.
Wow.
I would, for me, like
I mean, among other
the
things, I had no doubt that like the second half of Infinity War was going to involve them winning.
sure.
I
For me,
think
like I'll also
for
add
me,
the novel, The Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter, the sixth one, the penultimate one. I thought had an awesome cliffhanger, and then
I haven't read them all, so
pretty
but
much
yeah.
the exact same cliffhanger, but the one that got me was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Okay. I can see
And I
that.
guess Brian Singer's X-Men 2, and boy, X-Men 3 and Spider-Man 3,
I
yeah,
I I,
you'll learn.
I could say there are a couple of points in the Wheel of Time series
Mm,
that felt like this.
hmm
Um, including one where it wasn't because of Belle says she was also a yes about Saga, but
yeah, I
she's
also
writing
say
it to
yeah,
us.
Saga is one of the great cliffhangers, I'd say.
Um,
Just in what I've consumed for media.
yeah, but even with the Wheel of Time, I think Brandon Sanderson managed to construct one almost as good at the end of the first of the three books he did, but the one that actually feels this good is less in the text. I don't remember feeling it at the end of the text. We'd been waiting 5 years for book 10, and word came that Robert Jordan had died. So like the hiatus felt like it felt I mean, and for me it was even weirder than that. Like I hadn't checked in a while, and I discovered that my RA was a Wheel of Time fan, and so we went online to figure out if there was any new news that about when the next book was coming, and the new news was it had been announced like 3 hours earlier that Robert Jordan had died. And it's like, oh. um, but yeah, I can't think of a movie. I can't think of another maybe like going into the final arc of Transmetropolitan. Maybe going into the final arc of Preacher. Um, yeah. I mean, I remember the final arcs of those being like, gotta get this issue right now reads. Um, and for that matter, with Preacher, I switched over to single issues only for the final arc. I was late to Preacher and I read most of it in trade, but like having gotten to the end of that, I think what, ninth trade at the time, and the way they were set up that at that time, it's like, no, 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 I'm not waiting for um I don't think Walking Dead had any moments like this.
In the
They they
show,
they went
yeah,
they went the reverse where they ended out of the blue, but they also somehow managed to end, like, if not entirely happy, at least satisfying and not horrible. And I think
yeah,
that was actually right before this, which made it really weird because for the longest time, like, I was certain that Saga would have this happy ending, and I couldn't see it for Walking Dead. And suddenly, in a very short period of time, I went from, oh my God, Walking Dead pulled off the happy ending. And I'm not at all certain that Saga will anymore.
Well, I do want to address that. I'm going to slightly change subjects. I predicted on the last episode, just sort of off the cuff, that I think this is going to end with Hazel becoming a mother.
Yeah,
And this
I like that.
volume actually clarify, like, I feel even more convinced simply because right before Marco dies, she's like, I never want to have kids. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, it's gonna end with you having kids. That's how this book ends.
It's possible.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I, with the question, it's a good question because at least in my head, I think about cliffhangers as sort of planned, right?
Yeah.
That every show or typically books and like on a weekly basis, they have a cliffhanger to keep you coming back, right? It makes sense. Um, uh, and that this whole 3 year hiatus, maybe it's skewed my perception a little bit, is I don't see it as a cliffhanger because it seemed like the hiatus was like unplanned to be as long as it was, which doesn't have anything to do with anything because you still had to wait.
Well, it was gonna be a year, right? So, like,
It's going to be a year
I
plus, which actually makes me wonder if, because I know that Fiona had two kids during the hiatus. I wonder if she just realized she was pregnant, and and that my whole fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, Brian, I need a break theory is wrong. And it was really, I'm pregnant, Brian. I want to get ready. I want to spend some time with my baby and like, but who knows? One day I'll get to ask those questions.
One day. But I will definitely say, if we talk about the cliffhanger in terms of anticipation, like, yes, I was speechless for about 2 hours after I watched Infinity War. Yes, I anticipated that. I rewatched Walking Dead after I learned about the season 6 ending with the introduction of Negan, and I'll leave it at that. So I was anticipating that. I would definitely say if that's the sort of caliber, I 100% would say that Saga is up there in terms of cliffhangers. Because for me, which at the time I was not on any social media, I was not on any sort of comic news of that sort, so I had no idea about the hiatus until like literally one random day. I'm a book person told me, he's like, yeah, they're on hiatus. I was like, do we know how long? And they were like, no. So that, yeah, I would say that it would be up there as a cliffhanger for sure. I think we're going to be on a good cliffhanger for this next one. I can't
Yeah,
wait until
I
the
literally have nothing else to say at this point.
Can I make one more sort of
You may.
somewhat related point? I grabbed it off my bookshelf. This was not the time Brian K. Vaughan broke my heart the hardest. So I do want to give a shout out to this page and panel in Runaways. This wrecked me. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys have read
that was
this when
pretty.
Gert dies. I mean, it's Marvel, so she gets better eventually.
And
Um,
I think that's why it didn't wreck me the same way.
it it wrecked me because Brian K. Vaughan's
All
Runaways felt like such a singular point of view that it didn't really feel like once he leaves, like this book's it'll kind of fizzle out. And that's pretty much what happened until Rainbow Rowell came back and she was like, I'm gonna bring back Gert, and which I thought worked. I thought worked really well. But
I was actually gonna make another caveat there. I,
yeah,
I had also read this issue before I read Runaways.
ah, I read both when they were coming out.
Runaways was something that I didn't. It was in the period that I wasn't reading comics because I had children to pay for.
Right.
Um, and it was one of the things that I filled the Saga hole with. So like I already knew his ability to do that kind of
Yeah.
shit to me.
Yeah. So that was me coming to Saga.
All right.
But in this conversation, I do find myself agreeing about, the Saga 54 anticipation for 55 cliffhanger, intended or not. Like I think it is up there as well.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
if everybody's still speechless, I have one final question.
yeah.
Um, I'm going way back. This is to the cover to 49. I love movies. I would not totally call myself a cinephile. Um, that's Vertigo, isn't it? The
Cover of
Hitchcock movie?
49.
49.
It does
This
have
one.
that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's intentional. I assume it is. I
Oh,
don't know. Like
I almost guarantee it is.
like is here's the question. I'm not I love Hitchcock. Vertigo is not my favorite. Is there a deeper meaning there that I'm not seeing, or is it just like, oh, here's a cool visual?
I mean, how does this arc feel to you?
Great in terms of storytelling, terrible in terms of like how it ends. But I mean, think about it. Like they're on like a beautiful water planet with like a theme park, and like they're having fun and everything seems great for everybody. And then you have like Prince or Squire almost get eaten by this Sarlacc pit. I'm not going to call it what y'all called it, but you know what I mean. Um,
I'm
and
sorry.
then
It just looked a lot like
no, they
Dentata.
Josh is a little
that
more
was
classy with it.
that was intentional. That was intentional. That was 100% intentional. Um, and yeah, and then it just turns into a horror show by the end.
Uh, I mean, I will also say that it almost goes back and forth, and that's a very Vertigo-like feeling.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, when I went through the covers, I noted that, like, I think that cover telegraphed everything to come,
Yeah.
and we just weren't paying attention slash got that nice happy family photo with the next and we're
And I mean,
suckered into believing, oh, everything's gonna be okay for a while.
I'm trying to think back. Like Vertigo is just about like death and obsession, right? Like he's trying to recreate somebody who died. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I don't remember, but yeah.
well, I'll leave this for my final thought that I am taking on more patience. So if y'all need this, I'm teasing. Thank you, Ted, for laughing at my joke.
Everybody be sure to schedule your therapy time with Lee.
For those of you out there who need psychiatric help, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at Modern Age Comics in Algonquin, Illinois, they have a couch.
We do, in fact, have a couch.
All right, 5 seconds for anybody that wants to say anything else.
This is a great issue, even though it hurt a lot. And now I get to be in my feelings for the next hour or so. And I can't wait till we get to the next one.
Masterclass
Yeah.
of storytelling, complete masterclass. And
So
this time I know it's only going to be a month or so until the next one. So
I might read volume 10 tonight just because I have to. I'm just saying, like anybody else, I mean, we could come back like this weekend for the next one, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, for the Saga Book Club on 22 panels, we will see you after the next page.